A man played video games non-stop for 73 hours. This is how his organs shut down.
Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to talk about how you can have a safe and healthy launch of Classic WoW. And I'm not talking in-game, I'm talking outside of the game. So that clip of that video was circulating on Twitch and also on YouTube a few months ago. There was a lot of people reacting to it about how a man died after playing video games for 72 hours straight. Now, this was kind of, a shocking thing for a lot of people to hear about, but video game deaths do occur, and most of the time when they do occur and you read about them, there's some obvious reasons why these things happen. So what we're going to talk about in today's video is a little bit more serious than a lot of our topics, but we're going to talk about how you can have a safe and ultimately fun and healthy video game launch of Classic WoW and make sure that your body is, doing well throughout the whole entire process. So a lot of us know that gamers aren't the pinnacle of a healthy person. A lot of times gamers are sedentary, they have poor sleep schedules, and they oftentimes have poor diets. So one thing that you can do before even going into Classic launch is try to be a little bit more healthy. Make sure you're getting out, getting some activity in, whether it's walking, running, taking your dogs for a walk. Anything like that can help leading up to the Classic launch. Now let's get right into things, and we're going to first cover movement. So movement, I have found, is one of the most important things in all these cases that I've seen of people dying who have played too much video games. It almost always comes down to movement. So one thing that you can do is invest in a sit and stand desk. I recently have done this, and I am so happy that I made that purchase. But if you cannot afford to get a sit or stand desk, or it's not something you want to do right now, just know that Classic WoW is a game that offers you the ability to have time away from the keyboard. And by that, I mean schedule times where you're on a flight path, you're doing an escort quest, or you can /follow a friend and take a brief pause to do some, push-ups, some sit-ups, or just move around in general. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, you should be, going on an hour walk, or you should be running, or in between your sessions of playing video games. And now, if this is not something that you normally do, I don't think it's necessarily a thing that is required, but slight movement between your played time of Classic WoW is very important. So every half an hour to an hour, just stand up, move around. It might feel a little bit silly, but at the end of the day, you're really saving your body some strain and stress that you have from just sitting around being inactive for so long. So like I said, any kind of just get up and dance around, move around, do some squats, sit-ups, push-ups, anything like that will help out. So moving on from movement to sleep. Lack of sleep itself isn't that dangerous if it's under 48 hours. It's really more of a lack of sleep coupled with all of these other problems that lead to issues. Lack of sleep past 24 hours, it's mostly cognitive issues that you start to run into. But you can have a few physiological issues, such as a higher blood pressure, increased heart rate, and issues with your blood sugar. But as I said, these issues are normally strengthened by other poor decisions. Prolonged sleep deprivation can lead to more severe issues like weight gain, weight loss, anxiety or depression, and as I mentioned, blood pressure and heart issues. So just not getting good night's sleep one night is not that big of a deal, but if it's prolonged over weeks or months, it can lead to a lot of issues. So with sleep, as I said, sleep is not really the causation of a lot of these problems. It's more sleep coupled with a lot of these other unhealthy life choices. So moving on from sleep, let's get into foods. So gone are the days of pizza rolls, candies, and high sodium instant noodles. You should really cut these out of your, gaming diet. These are really poor choices that you can be making for yourself. if you plan to game healthily for the first week of launch, then you need to try and treat your body, very carefully. First off, we should cut out all simple sugars that you get from candies, pizza, donuts, and other processed and packaged foods. Yeah, these can be tasty and really easy a lot of times, but they're not good options for you. So cutting out foods like this will make sure that you don't spike your insulin and you won't go through as many highs and lows of energy. Our goal here is to fuel our bodies with complex carbs like whole wheat, brown rice, oatmeal, and other options that are going to give us steady energy for hours to come. Great snacks would be things like jerky. Obviously, make sure you keep that in moderation as it has a lot of sodium, so make sure you're also drinking lots of water. Other good options are trail mix, as long as it's the trail mix that doesn't have tons of, candies in it or chips and things like that. Another good one is energy bars. A good rule of thumb with foods is just to make sure you eat a good breakfast when you first wake up, and then make sure you eat throughout the day when you're feeling hungry. However, make sure that you don't overeat, as this can make you feel drowsy, and that's never a good feeling when you're trying to play video games for a long time. If you really want to have some bad snacks, make sure it's in small quantities and try and still go a more healthy route. For example, if you're craving something sweet, maybe pick up some dark chocolate. All right, now let's talk about water. So a lot of gamers are scared to have to pee a lot, but that is fine. You want to drink water and a lot of it. The few extra stops that you're going to have to use the restroom are going to be worth it in the long run. Drinking a lot of water is going to help with extra sodium that you're probably going to take in from all these processed foods, and it's going to help regulate other important body functions. Many people are going to also choose to drink coffee, soda, or different energy drinks, and these are not a solution or a fix for having to drink water. Make sure you're drinking tons and tons of water, and this is pretty much the biggest tip besides making sure you're staying active and you keep moving around. All right, that's water. So now let's talk about stimulants. This one is really big. Not so big on its own, but big when you combine it with everything else. Many people these days are addicted to energy drinks, soda, or coffee, and this is where things can get dangerous. With your decreased sleep, that can cause increased blood pressure and heart rate, and then you're also putting in a lack of movement and a lack of water, which this can further contribute to these issues. And then you're also adding in a chemical cocktail of sugar water and caffeine that's going to further dehydrate you while also elevating your heart rate and spiking your blood sugar. And this altogether can have really big side effects. So, you can consume energy drinks and caffeine safely, but you need to make sure that all of our above points are in line. You want to make sure you're staying hydrated, moving around, that you're eating healthy foods and snacks, and then you can feel free to consume some caffeine. But moderation is key. If you're drinking several energy drinks, that is where things can get bad. A good alternative to a sugary Monster or Red Bull could be a cup of coffee, and a good alternative to coffee would be some black tea. Now, this leads us to the real drugs. I just want to, briefly cover this because in the end, it's your life, and, you're the one that has the overall say in the end. I would stay away from using drugs to help you stay awake. You need to listen to your body. If you've already had some caffeine and your body's screaming at you to sleep, then it's probably smart to listen. Popping a pill or snorting something might make you more alert, but, if you're getting to the point where you need drugs to stay awake, you probably should sleep and come back after some rest. Again, this is my opinion, and you can do whatever you want in the end. However, if you do choose to use drugs of any kind, make sure you don't ever go in blind, having never done them before. So many people probably picked up Adderall or some other drugs for the first time, going into Classic WoW, and this is a big issue. many drugs that help you feel alert and awake have a lot of side effects, and these will affect people differently, and taking them for the first time 20 hours into a gaming session could have some really devastating results. Overall, guys, I just want Classic launch to be amazing and fun for everyone. I would never want to hear about someone in our community dying or having to have been taken to the emergency room. Because at the end of the day, if you're dead or in the ER, you can't level and you can't play WoW anyways. So, with that being said, be smart, be safe, and have lots and lots of fun, because we all have been waiting over a decade for Classic to return. So make sure you're around for all of the phases.